Welcome back, my happy homesteaders, homeschoolers, my home-happy, home-centric folks out there. Welcome back to another show. Today's episode number 42, which means that you can find the show notes at homesteadsandhomeschools.com/042. Just like last week, just like the week before, just change that number a little bit and you will find that week's show notes. It's a great technique, Anyway, folks, last week was episode number 41 with Jordan Page, and he kicked off the month of November when I'm talking to some musicians in finding out their sort of stories, their experience with music, and how that plays into their, homesteading or homeschooling, or how that's all interwoven together. Figured try it and see what happens. Anyway, my guest this week is yet another Jordan Taylor of Volume 0. You can check out his music. I will play a little bit in between this and the interview, and then at the end we'll give you some links that you can go check out his music. But Jordan and I got into it talking about his homeschool career, and he touched a little bit on some of the things that he felt he missed out on. But I will let him do that talking and tell that side of the story. If you want to go back and listen to the interview with Jordan Page, it's homesteadsandhomeschools.com/041. And that's our first music interview, and there'll be another one next week and another one the following week. So 3 more of these babies lined up and ready to go, ready to tickle your eardrums, just like that stray hair stuck in your ear. Won't stop itching. Just can't get it. And you stab yourself in the ear with a key, and it's all over. It's all over. I hope that's how good I sound to you all. I hope I have that effect on you all. And so stick around after the show. We'll talk a little bit and get into it. Let's go get into it right now. Let's go sow those Liberty seeds. Mr. Jordan Taylor.
The ship is sinking fast.
My guest today is Jordan Taylor. He's a musician, among other things, and he's a homeschooled kid growing up. He just got done working on a project with a band called Volume 0. They put out a little album that he will tell you about later today, but for now, let's bring Jordan. Jordan, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for sitting down or standing up or whatever you're doing and talking to us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. So, before you get into the music end of things, I guess, how were you homeschooled the whole way through? I know you're homeschooled, but when did that start?
My parents pulled me out of school right after the end of 4th grade, and I was homeschooled through the end of high school. And my sister, I want to say, was like maybe 1st grade, but my brother, that was all he knew. He was homeschooled all the way through. So. Okay.
Are you the oldest then?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Was it? Do you know why they pulled you out? Do you remember that?
I think it was a mix of our education system in my town only having a couple of decent schools, and we were in the district for one of the better ones, but they were I think more primarily concerned about just bad influence from the moral standpoint of it, I suppose.
Gotcha. All right. And do you remember coming out? I mean, so was it over the summer you came out 4th grade and just didn't go back for 5th grade, or was it like a mid-year kind of thing?
No, it was over the summer. I finished out my school year. Well, I went to public school up until fourth grade, and then they put us in we had a private Christian school in my town that they put me and my sister in for a year. And I think the big thing there was the cost. So, but I remember going 1 year there, and then I think we finished the school year and then started homeschooling the start of the next school year.
Gotcha. And now, not trying to date you here, but when was that? Do you know when you were in like elementary school or when did you graduate, kind of thing?
I graduated in 05 or 06.
Okay. All right. So
it's
90s.
been a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s.
When you were coming out then, how was the homeschool scene? Were you able to, like, were you still seeing your friends on the weekends and stuff? Was it like, were you kind of angry that you got pulled out and you couldn't see your friends at school? How did that whole situation break down?
I don't really remember real well. I remember being disappointed.
Yeah.
And like homeschooling in my area, at least at the time, was not like a super popular choice, but a lot of people did do it. And there was like a local group where they would, all the families would get together and we'd do field trips, or we'd all socialize and things like that. But it wasn't like a regular thing. So I didn't really get a whole lot of social contact. Kind of growing up because of that. But more than some people can, I guess. But not. I didn't really start socializing with people until I got a job and started working.
When did you start playing around with music?
I mean, I've always been appreciative of it. My dad got me into all the stuff he grew up listening to in high school when I was fairly young, and I decided that I wanted to try and learn some instruments. So I started out playing the piano and did that for a couple of years, and then I decided I wanted to play guitar. So I took a couple of lessons from the pastor of our church, and then kind of just took off from there and self-taught after that. And I'd say I was probably 11 or so when I started playing guitar.
So that wasn't too long after you came out of public school then that you started playing around with music then? Right.
Yeah. It wasn't there wasn't too much of a gap there. I guess it was a good thing with the being at home thing all the time. It kind of gave me something to do that wasn't destructive, I guess.
Yeah. Did you when you were in public school, was that something that was offered to you? I want to say when I was in elementary school, I think you could start playing an instrument in like 4th and 5th grade was right when like you could sign up for band and start taking lessons and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you recall that at all in your district?
Not in my experience. No, I think that I may be mistaken because I haven't really looked into it. But I think that's more of like a middle school thing where they have the marching band and all that. But I don't really rightly recall the lower grade school having any type of program like that. But I could be way wrong. It's been a while, so.
Yeah, I was just curious if that was something that you had, kind of piqued your interest in the music. If it was just like, your dad's taste, or was it something else?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a lot of Rush and Black Sabbath tapes growing up is what did it for me.
Right on. I guess you said you took a couple lessons from the pastor.
Yeah.
Was that something you sought out, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I kind of sought it out at the church. The church that we were going to at the time had split from another church, and it was a very small congregation. And a lot of the people that were involved in the church did numerous different jobs or tasks in the church. And our pastor also did the music every morning. And so I I had asked my parents for lessons, and it was kind of an expensive thing, and he agreed to just kind of show me the ropes and taught me like the note progression on the guitar fretboard and gave me like a half a dozen chords to learn, and then I just kind of like took off from there and kept digging at it for a while. And but yeah, I'd asked my parents, like I said, I asked for my parents for some lessons, and they'd put me in, and I'd played piano for a bit, and I didn't really get into it or pursue it real hard, and I kind of wish I had now, because that can be really cool to just be able to do in places, but I don't remember any of it really.
It's funny that it's what, like, I played French horn for a handful of years. It was awful, and I think I hated it, and I know I sucked at it, but the piano is always one of those things that kind of, I don't know, I think as a kid it doesn't have that illustrious glow that, you know, the guitar has, but it's pretty cool. Like, you know, when you hear somebody that's good on the piano, or like it knows what they're doing, and the versatility that comes with it, that I feel like you can apply your piano skills to a keyboard or you know, something else like that. But it is.
Yeah. Plus any kind of cool fancy place you go to, there's always one there, and I've always just been like, man, I really wish I could just sit down and play the hell out of that thing, but
yeah,
I can't, and so I just look at it longingly every time I see one.
So teaching yourself, what did you teach yourself? Was it just the guitar? Did you learn other things, or?
I started out and I played guitar a lot, and like wrote some really dumb like basic songs when I was young, and I can't even remember what they were about. And then I had some people that I knew that had a band, but they needed somebody to play the bass. And I was like, well, that's pretty simple to do. It's the same thing, but I don't have as many strings to worry about. So I did that for a little while. And then I recently, within the past year or so, I've been really interested in learning the drums. So I've been trying to pick that up out of an electronic drum kit, and been trying to pick that up and teach myself some of that. So
nice. How's that going with the drums?
Very poorly. It's cool. I like that I can plug in music to it and play with headphones, and I'm not like annoying the wife or the neighbors too much. And
yeah.
I can kind of keep a beat and play along with some stuff, but I gotta keep at it and kind of learn some more complicated things. It's hard to separate my hands and feet and brain sometimes.
Yeah, I can't fathom trying to do that. You know, it's enough trying to keep the beat in church or whatever, and I just can't. Yeah, forget it. Trying to do all that stuff at once, and but so when did you sort of get good at the guitar, or beyond, you know, just sort of acceptable? How long did that take you?
I don't know. I want to say I feel like I kind of picked up the basics and could play stuff that was fairly simple to moderate within a year or so. I'm not like a super shredder on it or anything. Like I can't. I would for as long as I've been playing it, I should be a lot better at it. But I enjoy it. It took about a year for me to really kind of like get the hang of it, and then once I got the hang of it, it was just kind of building on that and learning different aspects or different parts of it. I don't know music theory. I don't know how to read music, so that's probably held me back a lot. But
yeah, was it something that your folks incorporated into your homeschool day, or was it kind of something that was totally separate?
Yeah, they kind of incorporated it a little bit. I mean, they were able to set it up to where it counted toward my curriculum with the state when I went to graduate. So they made sure they were very supportive of it, and they made sure to set aside time of it. I remember my grandparents. I had a really busted up little classical guitar. It wasn't even like a full size guitar. It was like a a small scale one, and I just fought tooth and nail with that thing for a couple of years. And once I kind of was getting the hang of it, and they saw it, my grandparents bought me my first electric guitar, and they got me that for Christmas one year, and it was just kind of downhill from there. I started going nuts with it.
Nice. How did that work then with, you say your parents figured out how to tie it in with graduation or something, or with, I don't know what you call it, with the state records?
Yeah, they were able to, basically document that I had set aside X amount of time every week toward music, and then count it on my transcript as a music class. So, which is pretty cool. Indiana's pretty hands off with that stuff. I mean, like I didn't take the SAT like everybody else does. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of optional, and as long as you document that you satisfied the requirements they have for a high school education, there's a lot of leeway there. With homeschooling, it's not there with an actual like school system.
All right. Did your siblings pick up any sort of instruments along the way?
No, they tried. They wanted to, but it just I don't think it really stuck, and I don't know. I'm not really sure why. I remember my brother wanted to play the piano, and he wanted to play the bass, and he got both of those things and didn't really pick them up. And then my sister wanted to learn the drums and had a drum set for a while, but I can't really remember exactly what happened to it. I just know it was there, and then it wasn't, and I don't remember what she was trying to learn from a book, and that's kind of tough to do with instruments, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't comment on that. I don't know. So, but you I guess learned a few chords by ear in the beginning, and then just kind of went from there. Then is that how you did that?
Yeah. I learned the note structure and the way that the scales go for the notes, and then once I've got a pretty decent ear for notes, so once I can tie in what a note is that I hear trying to pick up a part that I'm learning, I can kind of piece it together listening to it. It's always just been kind of by ear, but knowing the scales and the progression of everything is it makes things a lot easier to kind of learn your way around or put things together and know like what sounds good together and all that.
So, what curriculum did you guys use when you were growing up?
I want to say we used a few. I know we used Becca. I know we used I can't remember what the other one was.
That's all right. Becca's one of those. I think everybody's heard of it, and most people have used it. It's pretty basic one out there. Everybody's got a bit in it, but
yeah, I know there were a couple more, but I'm completely spacing what they were at this moment. Like I know if I were to not be thinking about it, it'd pop right back into my head.
Yeah. So if you stayed in school, do you think you would have gone into the band, the high school band or the middle school band? You think you would have picked up the guitar and tried to figure it out, or was it kind of?
I don't know. I kind of feel like it was I socialized with my guitar because I didn't have a whole lot of friends or the opportunity to socialize with people. So I mean, that's kind of one of my bigger gripes with homeschooling in my situation is purely situational. I know it can be different for everybody else. I just wasn't offered the opportunity to really develop social skills very well, and it really came back to bite me in early adulthood until I kind of learned the way the world works a bit better.
Yeah, I can see that. I think homeschooling's a little more popular now, so you can, if you want to, you can find those outlets. But like you said, there's some folks out there who won't engage in that anyway, even if it's there. Guys, how did you figure it out, or what did you figure out later on that you feel like you missed out on?
Well, I mean, I come from a very, very small town, very conservative area in Indiana, so I basically had a good handle on for lack of a better term, I call it, I live my life through the Fox News lens. Mm-hmm. And so it was a big situation where it was just kind of hook, line, and sinker with that and that mentality. And I'm not necessarily knocking it in and of itself, but when I grew up and I enlisted in the military when I was 19, okay. And kind of saw how the world worked in a different way, and realized that a lot of the preconceptions I guess I had in my head about how the world was and how the world worked that I'd been taught, or that had been kind of transferred and inferred to me as a child, were a little bit idealistic or a little unrealistic, and so it was a bit of a perspective shift, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things that can really happen anywhere and everywhere. You know, it's you grow up in that bubble that your parents create, and it can be tough to get out of. Sometimes it's tough to see out of it, and sometimes it's tough to, recognize what's wrong with that bubble. And we all do it. I mean, I'm doing it to my kids. I know I am. It's just a matter of which way your bubble floats, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it was, I mean, I'm not really necessarily saying it was a bad thing in and of itself. Yeah. It was just, I was kind of sheltered and put into where I was, and there were a few like rude awakenings and culture shock moments as I got older. But I mean, I'm still here and everything's cool. It just took me some time to get used to things.
Right on. Yeah. I've had a few of those moments myself. So, all right, man. So yeah, you're still in the music now, right? You're still playing as an adult?
Yeah, I'm still tinkering. I like to make a lot of loud noises. I don't have a dedicated project I'm working on currently. I've been kind of messing around with a few things with a few of my friends, but it's basically just making really strange noises come out of my amp in my living room, and not really having anybody to appreciate it except for me.
Oh man! All right. What projects have you done in the past then?
I played in a really bad. Well, not really bad. I played in a Christian alt rock, okay. Kind of. Oh man, I don't know how to describe it. Kind of like. It wasn't. It wasn't as bad as Creed, but kind of in that same genre.
Okay. Yeah.
I did that for a while. I went in the military and didn't do anything. I actually got rid of all my music equipment. Didn't play music for the whole 5 years or so I was in.
Wow.
The Army, and then when I got back, I met up with a guy that played the drums, and he was starting a hardcore punk band, and so I played bass with him. We called up Sutter. I'm still kind of like a tangential, unofficial member, but the band's kind of on sleep mode right now. Our drummer and his wife moved to South Africa and they work on combating human trafficking and things down there. So he's out of the country, but the band is still a band. It's just not doing anything right now. But I played with them for 3 or 4 years, and then about a year or two went by, and started Volume Zero in 2016 or 2017, and I wrote wrote 3 of the 6 songs on our record that we put out completely, and then wrote all the lyrics, wrote all the music for it, and then we played pretty regularly. Went on a short, I wouldn't call it a tour. We went down to Florida and back, playing some shows over a weekend. Put a record out, and then there were some unspoken tensions within the band that led to its demise, and that was that. But it was cool. I mean, I've got a physical, like, legit vinyl record that I have on my shelf that I made, and I had a hand in putting together, and it was a really neat experience. I had a lot of fun yelling at strangers. You don't get to do that very often outside of that world. So
Yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't think about that. Interesting. So yeah. How did that come to be then? That, I guess, you guys just find each other randomly, or I mean, like,
okay. So Upsetter, our drummer and the guitar player knew each other for a long time, and they had a couple of, like, bands that kind of started up but then never moved forward. And it was all just different iterations of the same thing. And I was home on leave from Afghanistan, and the drummer knew a guy from my church and was helping him. He was storing some stuff at my house while I was gone, and he happened to come over and help him retrieve his stuff while I was home. So we got to talking and hit it off pretty good, and then he just kind of hit me up randomly when I got back and asked if I wanted to jump on board with that. And then Volume Zero was kind of a transmutation of that. That was the same guy that played guitar and Upsetter on the drums, and then a bunch of guys that we all played in bands with or played shows with on all the other instruments. We kind of handpicked the people that we liked from our local music scene, and kind of built it all together. And it was pretty cool. But yeah, we'd all had some sort of tie where we'd either played in another band with each other or played shows with each other's bands. So
what is Volume Zero? What kind of music do you guys play? What is it about?
It is I call it hardcore punk, but it's definitely got a little bit of a heavier spin on it. Just really, really loud, fast, aggressive, in your face stuff. Everything was fairly politically based. I wrote songs about. We have a song called "Fleeced" that is a kind of a comparison contrast of politicians and megachurch pastors and how they operate. I wrote songs about NSA warrantless surveillance and the media using fear as a tool, and veterans issues. Just pretty well whatever was on my mind at the time we were making the music was what I would write about, and it was all fairly politically based, fairly on the nose, and I wasn't really ever shy about it. But yeah, it's just if you like really loud, angry, fast stuff that everybody can relate to, as far as our country, I think it'd be a good fit for you. But I know it's not everybody's cup of tea either. So
anything you want to share with us? Where can we go to find your find your music?
You can just search Volume Zero. It's all up online. All the streaming platforms have it. It's on Spotify and Pandora and Apple Music and Amazon. I think it's on YouTube as well. There's a Bandcamp page, but I'm blanking on the URL right now. But yeah,
I'll dig it up and throw it in the show notes later. So
yeah, good track to point anybody to. My favorite one that we wrote was called Distress Signal, and it was about the government spending and how it's like a sinking ship, and it was a lot of fun to write. And I liked making that analogy a lot, and it was a lot of fun to write, and I had a blast playing it.
Yeah. How is that? How are those messages received when you're out on the road or with family or friends or any of that?
Yeah, it was surprisingly family is kind of a fun one. I don't get political with people much anymore. I've learned to kind of keep that to myself. Now, when playing a show is a lot different. But like my entire family is a very very conservative, like pretty hard right people, and then my wife's family is pretty well hard left. So I kind of sit somewhere in the middle, and I look at everything on a case by case basis. So I don't really fit in on either side. That it sucks, but I mean a lot of a lot of the leanings and philosophies I have, I feel like are things that people really deep down they're like, yeah, that would be a good thing, but they just haven't heard it or don't know it yet. And I had a lot of positive feedback with that. I mean, I wasn't much of I wouldn't like preach my ideology from the stage or anything, but I would always try and make it a point to like touch on something while we were playing in between a couple songs. And a lot of my thing was just, be decent people to each other, and you can disagree and still get along. Just be nice to each other, which is funny coming from the sweaty guy that's yelling at you for a half hour.
Nice. Yeah. Imagine that people can disagree and still get along.
Yeah, it's a concept not a lot of people have a good grasp on though. It's just wild to me. I can't figure out why it's a curb people can't jump sometimes.
I don't know. You start turning political beliefs and all that into religion, and it takes on a whole other level of intensity, I think, but who knows? And, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out today. I will include links to your Bandcamp there in the show notes. Is there a URL for the band straight up, or just kind of Bandcamp's the best way to go?
I'll message you. I'll share. Do you prefer like Spotify or like iTunes or both of my most recent projects?
All right. Y'all, hope you enjoyed that. Like I was saying at the top, Jordan pointed out some things that he felt, as an adult, maybe kind of missed out on those things as a homeschool student. And I think it's something that we all should consider. Kids grow up in bubbles, whether it's the bubble you create, the bubble the school creates, the bubble that your immediate culture creates, whatever it is, we live in bubbles, and it's important that I think we teach our kids to respect our own bubbles, to respect our own values and culture, but at the same time, be aware that there's other stuff out there. There's other things out there. There's another world. There's other viewpoints. There's other lenses to take things in through, and to really kind of wrap your head around. I encourage you guys all, if you're not, to kind of, and it's tough. It's tough to step out of your own bubble, your own comfort, and, share that with your children, but it is worth it. I do think it's worth it in the end to, present your kids with other views, so that they can understand things better as they get older. Yeah, it's just my 2 cents there. And, you probably got enough of that during the show, but hey, there's some more. Anyway, folks, go check out the show notes, homesteadsandhomeschools.com/042, and you can find a multitude of links there to Jordan's music that you can either purchase or I don't know, listen to, download. I guess if you're downloading it, you're purchasing it, of course, right? But yeah, if you like what's going on here, go ahead and share hit that subscribe button. Shoot me an email. Let me know. If you don't like what's going on here, shoot me an email all the same. Tell me why. Let me know what I'm doing. It's making you so aggravated. And I may try to fix that. Anyways, folks, if you do, again, like I said, hit that subscribe, hit that share button. And as always, get out there, sow those seeds of liberty, and we can all reap sheaves of freedom together.
I'm gonna ride a hustler's dream. I'm gonna ride a hustler's dream.